electronic university. It isn't easy for a human being to notice that you can't have one without the other, because our attention has difficulty in seeing both sides at once. You know that Gestalt image, so you get two faces in profile about to kiss. But then look again and you notice the white ground between them, and it is a cup, like a chalice. What have we got here? People have difficulty in seeing both together.
When you're looking at the white figure in that illustration, which is the cup, you, as it were, identify with the cup. When you look at the two faces, you identify with the profile. So in the same way, when we experience the world around us, we identify with the subject, the knower.
We confuse ourselves as living organisms which are one with this whole universe with something we call our personality. Now, what is our personality?
I am a lonely, separate, transient individual locked up inside my skin, and therefore different from, even hostile to, and alienated from everything else.
Our personality is what we call our image of ourselves, and also our thought about ourselves, our idea of ourselves. Here is a person. A person is originally an actor's mask. For the word persona means that through which there comes sound. And those old masks, as they were made for the Greco-Roman stage, had mouthpieces that were shaped like a megaphone. And so, because those mouths emphasized the sound, persona became the name for a mask.
Most civilized people are out of touch with reality because they confuse the world as it is with the world as they think about it.
It comes out of our minds, and we project it upon nature like this, and break nature into bits so that it can be easily talked about and handled. But you see, this tends to give us the impression that our world is a lot of bits, and that things are really separate from each other. You see, how could I demonstrate how this is? I have an idea. Mr. Cameraman, will you focus the camera on one small, tiny spot in the set and come very close to it and travel along bit by bit by bit by bit. Now you see, this is looking at the world little bit by little bit, as if we were only using the central vision of our eyes. But if this were the only way we had of looking at things, it would be very difficult to make any sense of life at all, because we would see everything in series, bit after bit after bit. But fortunately, we are also able to enlarge the whole view and take in everything at once in a single sweep. And you see, this shows all the advantages and the disadvantages of looking at things in the way that Indian philosophy calls Maya. It's really a way of seeing the world in an unrelated way.
Where exactly does the head stop and the neck begin? Is it here? Is it here? Is it here? We can't really decide. The only way to be perfectly clear about where the head stops and the neck begins is to chop off the head. And then you've got a neat dividing line.
But here's the point. If you have understood clearly that you as a separate will or a separate ego are a fiction, then on the one hand, you can't change it, and on the other hand, you can't do nothing about it, because there is no agent, no separate doer, either to do something about it or to do nothing about it. And so, this situation seems, as it were, paralyzing. If you can't do, and if you don't, what's going to happen?
If somebody says to me, Alan Watts, do something about it, the concept Alan Watts can't do anything. In other words, because it's only a concept, you can't make it lift a weight, just as 3 is a concept, 3 the number. You can't make just plain 3 do anything. So also you can't wrap up parcels with the equator. It's a useful imaginary line, but it can't do anything.
When you get to the situation where you doubt everything you do, and you have no longer any confidence in yourself, what is happening is that your ordinary, trained-in way of acting deliberately, is being undermined. And when you come to the point that nothing you can do is right, suddenly there is a flip in consciousness.
My teens, I first became interested in this. And I very much fervently wanted to realize what it would be like to experience the whole world as a unity, and myself as being involved in that unity, of being it, of being the one self which is all. And at first I thought, well, I suppose this is a state of consciousness which, if one realized it, all the distinctions and outlines of things would disappear. The whole world would kind of go blah into a great sea of cosmic jello like this. Or else, I thought perhaps that it wouldn't be quite like that, but maybe everything would become suffused with a kind of omnipresent interior light, something like this. And, but I couldn't make it happen that way.
Now, just precisely what do you mean by that? What is the fundamental meaning of the universe? The answer is